Ryan's Minute Modcast with his mates, Perry, Mo, and Sadia. Episode 221.
Everyone, let's throw our phones away right now.
Let's start off with what's going on on the other side of the world, Australia. You might have seen that they've had that ban put in for kids. Is it under 16 or 14? I think it's 16, right? So you're not allowed to use social media, no Instagram, etc. So I'd love your thoughts. And do you think that should be something that we should consider in other countries? So
yes, and also for stupid adults. Can we also do that for really dumb individuals, please?
We'll get to that.
I thought, just bring it up in this podcast and let's just talk about that as well. Kids, yes, but maybe some adults as well. Min, what do you think?
I heard something just this morning saying, like, every time they kind of do the analysis of how much time we're spending, generally as a population, mostly adults, on the internet, on social media, it's increasing, like scarily increasing. So I think there's something in what you've said in that, yeah, maybe that's where the governments come in, because they're like, this stuff isn't healthy for you, just being on this for hours and doom scrolling and brain rotting and all these new words that we're coming to learn about. So yeah, let's see. I don't know if people are going to challenge it in the courts and stuff, but sometimes we have to protect ourselves from ourselves, don't we? And maybe it's a good thing. I mean, for my generation, I was super fortunate because we didn't have all of this stuff anyway. So, but if you've been born with it, maybe it's like, this is the only way we interact with our thumbs because we can't actually talk to each other anymore.
You know what my daughter says about this? She says, because, it's not allowed to have your phone at school, and there are all these debates about social media and whatnot. And she's obviously very smart. No, she says, why is it the government that needs to be saying things about this? Isn't this the responsibility of parents? I said, yeah, but not all parents are well educated. So forgive me, it sounds ridiculous today, but it is interesting because I always start thinking immediately, is it really the job of the government to determine if we look at our phones or not? But if not, then what happens? And if so, then what happens? Like, if the government is saying you cannot be on Snapchat when you're under 16, I think, and then what? You get a fine when they find out you're on Snapchat and you're not 16? What are we doing? It's such a complicated story. Now I will shut up, but find it fascinating.
Yeah. Satya, where do you go next? And what's been going on with social media in other countries as well?
Yeah, I have heard rather good news that China is now putting a kind of a policy where if you are an influencer of a certain genre, you need to be qualified. So for example, if I'm talking about diseases or medical, then I have to be a doctor. I think it's very necessary that we do this in all countries because at least in India, I see a rise of wellness and so-called supplements-related influencers who say, okay, you take so-and-so supplement and you will be a superhero or superheroine the next day. All the kind of claims based on what research is based on their own. So they take a pill and they see something is happening to them and they start influencing it and people listen to them. They say, hey, maybe this will work on me because this is free of cost. The suggestions are free of cost. Going to the doctor costs money. And this is where I think we are creating a generation of not very healthy human beings, physically and mentally, which also I think this is where the government should intervene because at large, we are looking at citizens. At large, we are looking at population. And at least to some extent, this has to be regulated. At least some people would be saved from being diseased or chronically ill for the rest of their lives. I think this is necessary, some kind of regulation, at least on the influencer side. For children, I think it will be really cool not to have children on Instagram because if you just see that number of pages about their babies, about the babies growing up, how dangerous it is for those children who are not even aware that they are on Instagram or they are on social media. And imagine the hate comments or any kind of danger that they are in. I think parents can't fathom it because they are so carried away in their cuteness or their growing up journey that they forget that there's a larger danger out there, which is people are seeing it and they know their whereabouts, which is not good.
Yeah. I was listening to the radio on the way in. Some music was playing, Dr. Dre. So what's going to happen to him? Will he be able to talk about medical stuff, I wonder? That's a dad joke, don't worry about it.
I thought it was funny.
You might just say that.
I think he's allowed to be an influencer on medical supplies, Dr. Dre.
We'll later, Satya. He's like a rapper, but he's made himself a doctor. If you're on those like planes and then someone's having a heart attack and then it's like, is there a doctor in the house? And he turns up, you'll be quite worried, and it's like, leave it. I'm good.
When they play his songs, right? They open Spotify. Here's Dr. Dre, and then you're having a heart attack. Nothing is happening, but Dr. Dre is in the house. Yeah, sorry.
So, slight aside, Mo, what's your thoughts?
Yeah, it's a really controversial topic. Some people are for it, some people are against it, of course, that if the government should be able to choose if your kids should use social media or not. I think we should take example of the people that create the social media, right? If you look at Bill Gates and many others, even like Steve Jobs, their thoughts regarding social media was that even their kids did not have a phone up to a really like older age.
Yeah.
So they create it for others, yet they don't use it for themselves and their own kids, and they have already guardrailed them. So I would say they maybe should have more of a say on if they should or not, because they're actually doing the right thing for their own kids. So in general, from that side, I think it's hard for kids to know right and wrong, and there's so much data out there. I think governments, institutions have been trying to protect them from many elements of the internet and social media. But I think they found out maybe in Australia that they can't. So hence why this decision has been made that they just make a stop to it as a whole and just do this. But if it's right or wrong, I agree with Perry as well. At the end of the day, it is a parent decision, but yet some are uneducated or need more education. So someone needs to make a decision at the end of the day, right? Even if it's right or wrong. But it's good. I think it's a good thing, to be honest, because as a child, we're developing. Even me, I was in the internet age. So I think at some point I was an addict, right?
Yeah.
To internet and games, I was playing like GTA and all these things, right? 10 hours a day, 12 hours a day, after school, whatever, right? Even before school, I was awake and playing, right?
Yeah.
And it started to influence my behavior at some point. I realized I'm like,
you just like pulling people out of cars and
not to that level, but I felt like when I was playing like one of the games, I was like becoming a little bit more angry and violent. So I was just a teenager and I was like, this is actually affecting me. So hence the experience. I do believe that it's really good to ban it all, because you can't not do that for the sake of it, you know.
And then as you get older and you're going for a job, and then if HR are doing their due diligence and it's like, right, let's go and check out what is like online, and then they might see some of your things when you're much younger, and then that could influence you, which is really bad, right? It's like literally everything you're thinking, you're saying, that's kind of a record that's always there. Even if you delete it, people can still find it.